Hello and welcome to Quatchness, your one-stop show for everything film, everything photography, and good vibes. Today I'm here with Frank, and we're gonna talk about new releases of 2025, brands that are making headlines for the right reasons and wrong reasons as well. What we are shooting on, my camera right here is a Lumix S1, and Frank's camera is a Lumix S52X. And for that reason, we'll start close to home. And that is the Lumix S1 Mark II.
Yeah, so to our first camera, which I find quite interesting because we have the previous model, that's the S1, is the Lumix S1 Mark II.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this camera has really caused a lot of buzz in the film industry, or rather in the film world, because it packs so much.
Another banger. Big banger.
Yeah. It
From
packs
Lumix.
so much. Remember, we were already talking about S52X being a competitor to FX3.
FX3, yeah.
Which didn't seem, it seemed quite a bit ambitious at the time.
Yeah, of course it did. But it has a lot of things over the FX3 that, of course, day-to-day Sony user wouldn't agree to. I was also a big fan of the FX3 till I actually saw the... I did like a one-on-one comparison of the Lumix S52X and the FX3, and I found out that the FX3 had a few things over the Lumix S52X, and for the different price points, the S52X won my heart.
Yeah. Now we're looking at an S1 Mark II with killer features. We are talking dual native ISO, recording full frame at 6K. We're also seeing strong low light performance.
Does it do open gate?
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
That's one in over the FX3, definitely.
Yeah. Sony people don't want to hear that.
And it does 5.8K at 60 FPS. It does 4K up to 120 FPS. That's something to talk about, and something that Odongo had been bothering you, had been on your neck for a while. Your camera doesn't do ProRes RAWs. So this time, Lumix have been what have years, and they're like ProRes RAW, and that is something a lot of guys were looking forward to, and I think Lumix have done so well to have all this in a camera that costs just a little over $4,000.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to find a camera with all those specifications and additions for less than $7,000 in the current market.
Yeah.
So some people would argue that $4,000 is a steal.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, so I'd say having used the S52X, one serious problem I had with it was that it would crop, if you are shooting maybe slow-mo, it would crop at 4K 60. But now you see with the new S1 Mark II, you can get up to 4K 120.
120.
Yeah.
It does that full frame?
Yeah.
4K 120, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Because there always has to be a compromise with these cameras. If you're getting 4K at 60 frames per second, you're not going to get the whole of it. We have to chop up your frames. So getting that, it's a killer, just like they say. And I don't know, you told me before you started rolling that this is the FX3 killer. And the FX3 has been a benchmark for a lot of... and I wonder if these manufacturers have the same mind going into these updates, like I don't want to say layman because we're into this business. So I don't know if they go looking at, people like the FX3 because of this and this and this. So this is what we're going to do different, or this is what we're going to add on to what we already have. Because quite a lot of comparisons are done against this FX3.
Yeah. And I think for an established brand like Sony, I think they're just getting a bit lazy in the sense that once you know that people love FX3, right now if you're going to shoot, if you're looking for clients, most of them will ask you, do you have an FX3?
Do you have an FX3?
Now, to a brand like Lumix, which it's equally popular but not to Sony levels, if they are making a camera, you'd think they'd probably just look at FX3 and say, what's really good in this camera? And how can we make it, or rather, how can we have it in our camera maybe for cheaper? So that's how you find the S1 Mark IIs and even the S52Xs of this world trading blows with the likes of FX3 because they are trying to find that edge or how to compete better or provide people with diversity. So it's quite harder for you to choose, or rather to just say, I'm going to go Sony.
Yeah. Definitely. And I think it's on that point of Sony being lazy and not wanting to like be inventive or something. It's been the FX3 was released in 2021, start of 2021, I believe. That's been around. Is it 3 or 4 years? 4 years, but there are rumors that something bigger is coming, something better, something to have people inventing things for 3 other years before they can catch up to Sony.
Yeah.
Because we use Lumixes here and they do a good job, but man, I'm a Sony fanboy.
Yeah.
I like what they do with their cameras. I like how they work on their color science, everything. Yeah.
In fact, that reminds me, there's a time we were comparing the S52X to FX3, and then we casually mentioned that we wouldn't be shocked if in the next edition of the FX3, almost everything that the Lumix people brag about in the S52X will just be lifted and pasted on the next
most
installment.
definitely.
And I'd say...
Yeah, one thing I would like to add is, you know, some a camera like S1 is a 2019 camera.
Yeah.
You understand? However, it has packed a lot of things or a lot of features that cameras are now other brands are now putting in their cameras. Yes. So like something like the shutter angle is something that Sony did not have. Yeah, and I think the squeeze ratios
For the anamorphic.
for the anamorphic, Sony did not have those.
So for anyone,
Sony FX3.
for a layman who's watching, if you can just expound, whenever you're shooting on an anamorphic lens, the image you see and the image you record is squeezed and it's not readily usable for present. If you wanna like show it, it's not something you can show to people. You have to do some de-squeezing and all that. What you're saying is the previous versions of Sony could not record using anamorphic lenses or what? Please expound.
You know there are different factors, or rather the squeeze factors of anamorphic lenses. Yeah. So Sony I think only had 3 or 2 squeeze factors of anamorphic lens. Whereas something like S1, there is around 5 squeeze factors of anamorphic lens. So you find that it had a wide range. In fact, I think in Sony, you wouldn't be able to de-squeeze it.
Okay.
You understand? You wouldn't be able to de-squeeze it. You have to use a monitor to de-squeeze that footage so that you can know whatever you're recording.
So that you
can be able to frame all those things.
Another dent in the pocket.
Yeah.
So for another thing, if we might add, these de-squeeze factors are also specific to lenses as well. You'll find that an anamorphic lens, there's one that uses the de-squeeze factor of 1.33x, and if your camera does not have that factor, you are again disadvantaged. You have to find something that is specific to that. unlike when you have a camera that has this wide range, and anything you use, not exactly anything, but you have a wide range to choose from in terms of price, in terms of availability in the market, and all those factors. So that is another big plus, I think, if you look at it.
Yeah, and
something like
to your
waveform
point,
are some of the things that Lumix S1 has. However, Sony doesn't have it.
yeah,
So there are a lot of features that are packed in this camera that makes you still use it, maybe even up to 2027.
yeah.
Yes, maybe you might just try to change because of the sensor and some small things, because it still can shoot 6K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that works to their disadvantage? Because I think if you're going to market a camera
To
and you've
Sony's disadvantage.
no, to Lumix's,
Yeah.
because from what I'm gathering is all those features that Odongo has mentioned,
Yeah.
they are all in this body. This is one body.
Yeah.
But you see brands like Sony, they release one feature as the main. Say, for example, they were to release a camera for 2025.
Yeah.
They'll maybe add, say, Open Gate, which
Yeah.
these already had.
And
then
Open
that's
Gate
what they'll
becomes
brand
the-
it as. The maybe FX3 Mark II with
Our
Open Gate.
Open Gate champion.
Yes. Yeah. So it basically gives you or gives your fanboys more things to be excited about and say, this year we have this, this year we have this.
And
but to someone
anticipate.
who's had it for like the last 5 years,
Yeah.
that's nothing new to them.
It's like what Apple do, man.
Yeah.
They just give you something small and take away something. Oh, we're not going to give you chargers anymore, but have this.
Yeah. A notepad that does insane things.
Exactly.
Or a calculator that does math.
Crazy.
So sometimes I think it's the brand. Because Sony is a well-known brand.
Yeah.
In fact, by 2019, there were no YouTube channels that were talking about Panasonic Lumix S1, S5, and all those. So you find that before then, there were only the GH5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think we used GH5 with you some time back.
Yeah, and
When was it?
that was it 2020? I think 2020, 2021 after COVID. And at that time, the GH5 was a beast to us. And when you come to think about it, the biggest turn-off right now is you look at a GH5, when you see those, you go shopping and you see those images of a GH5, when the lens is off and you can see the sensor, you see that small crop sensor and you're like, come on, please pass. Show me something else. But these things have come a long way.
Yeah.
And it's really wonderful to see that Lumix are making these big strides, trying to be in the competition and be there at the top where these conversations are. Yeah. Because if you've noticed, it's rare to find even like local vendors in Kenya where we are right now. People who have Lumixes stocked. Finding recently I saw one of those vendors I'm not going to mention. They had this S52X and I was so shocked. Damn, I've only seen one S52X in Kenya. In as far as I've worked in this industry, we've gone to many places to shoot. We've shot with very many people, but it's always your regular. It's a Sony S74. It's a Sony FX3. Yeah, so it's really nice to see these things coming out more in the market.
Do you think that also has to do with other factors like maybe availability of lenses? Because say, right now we are talking about the S1 Mark II, and we can clearly see, I would even argue it beats the S7 IV.
Yeah, by far.
Yeah.
Definitely by far.
But now as someone who maybe has it, and you know clearly the S1 Mark II beats what you have, are you going to buy it and then start investing in the L-mount lens?
No, the
ecosystem?
switch is a hard thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all these things cost quite it's a lot of money. And some people, if you are Kikuyu guy in Kenya, you'd argue, mbona nisinunue kapro box nipeleke? But I take my, what does Alcaranja say? Cabbages.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one would argue, because when you think of that switch, and one of the dilemmas I personally had was, okay, I have this Canon EOS-RP. I want a Sony. But now if I buy a Sony, I've moved to a different ecosystem. I need to start accessorizing differently for this other thing. So it becomes really difficult. And that's why you'll find that somebody who's a Sony fanboy will always die and they swear by Sony. Even if you come with your points, like you remember that time we were shooting at the studio on Mombasa Road, and we were with the viewer telling him, yo, and I was an FX3 guy at that point. And then you argued some points and I was like, wow. In fact, now I've changed my mind. I don't think if I get the funds, I'm going to go for this FX3. Because the arguments were like really objective. And to me, somebody who had not used the Sony, it was easier to like consider this other brand. But for somebody who's invested that money and somebody tells you, oh, you know, this is better, this does better, it becomes difficult from that point to look at it in any way. Like,
absolutely.
So I think we've really talked about the Lumixes. Yeah, and forgive us, we might be biased because this is what you use. It's too close to home. But
Because they are good.
yeah, they're really good actually. That's why we use it. You know, like just like our name, Quatchness. Everything here is Quatch. If you don't know what Quatch means, search it up on the Oxford Dictionary.
On the S1 2. There's an update coming, firmware update, that will enable it to have ARRI C-Log. I think it's ARRI C-Log or something. Yeah, so it will be having the ARRI log. So in case you have an ARRI camera, you can still you can still match the colors perfectly with S1 2.
That would be so amazing.
I think I want that camera.
You cut on your budget. You go there, you rent one ARRI, then do your S1 2, shoot on ARRI log. You
That
get
would
everything.
be quite interesting. There's a story we were having the other day where some guy was called to shoot. Okay, I think the main guy was shooting on a red, right? And then the B cam had what?
It wasn't even the B cam. It was the
BTS.
BTS cam.
The BTS cam.
He was shooting on Blackmagic.
Yeah.
Blackmagic 4K. Yeah, the other guy was shooting on the main camera was a red camera.
Yeah.
So you find that the guy who was shooting on the BTS did a good job.
Yeah.
More than
the main camera.
Yeah.
The main camera. I think it was a red
so
Komodo or something.
They switched the footage. Now they use the footage for
From the
BTS,
BTS guy.
instead of using the footage for
The main
For the
camera.
red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I think such kind of developments where now you can easily have the ARRI as your main and there's one
A smaller camera.
yeah, giving you almost the same consistency in terms of like color and everything.
That's something to be excited about, definitely. Be very excited, Lumix guys, man.
And maybe before we move to some of the competitors in the segment, we can just have list some of the key features that someone who maybe is looking to buy or is already, say, maybe in Lumix and wants to upgrade, what kind of features they'd get from an S1 Mark II. In which case, we talked about the full frame sensor.
Yeah.
We talked about the dual native ISO. That's base ISO being 640
640 and 5000.
and 5000. Yeah. So you also have the 6K internal recording, 10-bit. We also have ProRes RAW. Remember, with the S52X, we can only shoot ProRes, just
HQ.
ProRes HQ.
Yeah.
So nowadays you can actually record ProRes RAW, which is a massive big game changer. And then face detect autofocus, which is quite good.
In fact, its autofocus is much better than the S52X.
Yeah.
In fact, it also has a new sensor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was just a new sensor. So, and the new sensor, what's it called?
The
Rolling shutter.
rolling shutter.
Yeah, the rolling shutter is so low as
Yeah.
compared to S52X.
It's almost like a global shutter.
It's almost like a global shutter.
Yeah, in fact, I wondered what Lumix were doing when they released the S1, is it S1R Mark II?
Yeah, it's 1 out of Mark 2.
Yeah, people went brutal on that camera because of the rolling shutter thing. Do you think maybe they just saved all that technology for this? Because the reviews I've seen on the rolling shutter for the S1 Mark II is really good, especially for a camera its price, and even it's as compared to competitors within the same segment.
Could have been a marketing strategy. You just have one, take one for the team.
Yeah.
It's like what do they call it? Breadcrumbing.
Yeah.
I give you something small, then I give you some. I love bomb you with the S1 Mark II, and you're like, it's all forgiven.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you also have to know that S1 R2
Yeah.
is more on photography side than the video.
Oh yeah. Yeah. For
Oh, really?
sure.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I think it's 48 megapixel. So it's more photography, just like S7.
S7, S3.
No, S7 it's 4. I think it's 48 or 30 something megapixel. So they lean more on photography side
Ah.
than the videography side.
Okay.
So that's why maybe they just leave it the way it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because most people will be buying it for photography, not videography.
Ah, okay. Okay, I see. Yeah. So you've had all those features all packed in one package costing, is it around $4,000?
Just
right?
over a little over $4,000, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think will also drop to a certain point. If it
I
gets to
think
3, I'm definitely
it's a bargain considering the FX3 costs around the same
Yeah.
currently, or even more for some.
way more, especially in
Yeah.
Kenya.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be buying it here.
It does cost more, so if you have the money, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Just cook it. But it's a bummer to me, being that it focuses more on photos.
No, that's the S1 R Mark
Oh,
II.
that's the S1R Mark II.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
a relief.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do think there's anything we've not talked about considering this camera.
Anything after that will risk being called Lumix fanboys.
We'll be doing that thing. I don't want to talk about what we'll be doing. We'll be on our knees for Lumix.
But our ecosystem has changed to Lumix.
Yeah.
Because currently, if I'm buying another camera, it
Most
just
likely.
Lumix, Leica, or Blackmagic. Because they all share the same L-mount system.
Yeah.
It's called the L-mount Alliance. Yeah, so Sigma, I think Sigma, yes, Sigma.
Sigma is in there.
Yes.
Leica is in there.
Blackmagic, and Lumix.
Yeah. In fact, a Pixies would also be really nice. Yeah. So that does it for the Lumix. Maybe just some competitors that we've also seen get considerable improvements, like the Sony A7 Mark IV and the A7R Mark V, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so those have their own benefits. Of course, people are always going to talk about the strong Sony autofocus. The fact that...
They went crazy with that one. Definitely. It's taking
just a
people
matter of
years to
time.
catch up. Hey.
It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time.
But let me ask, because of how good their autofocus is, does it get to a point where there's not much you can do about the autofocus? Like, it's so perfect, there's no... You've hit the ceiling.
I don't know. What I've seen happen is people are now adding smarter autofocus systems where, for example...
Or like how Canon do it. Canon have really amazing AI for autofocus. Like
exactly.
facial tracking.
Yeah, birds, trains, and everything. Because I don't think it can get like better per se. Maybe just be smarter to recognize more things, which you've seen they're adding new modes like every time.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
On that note, let's move on to our next big machine in the industry, the Canon EOS R1.
Yes.
Yeah. And I had Odongo say this is it's been brought in to rival the Sony A1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Nikon Z9.
Yeah. These are like these are your conventional compact cameras that by compact I mean they are like the ones your mirrorless camera that you can carry around, and like the cinema lines that the A1 had global shutter. And the next what do you call it? The next camera in line for Sony that had this was the FX6. You see how big that, not really a big jump because they almost cost the same. And in some scenarios you find that the A1 is more expensive than the FX6
yeah.
because of its hybrid capabilities. And so now Canon have come in with the EOS R1.
Yeah. Which I can see has quite the features, by the way. Yeah. Odongo was telling us earlier about its stacked sensor.
Odongo, expound on that kidogo.
Yeah, stack sensor. Sensor basically just means in case you're shooting fast pace, like sports, it's easy. It reads quick and stores quick. Yeah, as compared to these other sensors. So basically, that's what stack sensor does mostly. Yeah.
So this camera would do wonders for people who are into sports photography.
Is faster, even in terms of rolling shutter. You won't experience that huge rolling shutter when you have a stack sensor. Something like S1 has a partial stack sensor. So that's why its rolling shutter is lower S1 too has a partial stack sensor. That's why its rolling shutter is lower as compared to this other S52X or even S1.
Okay.
So for low light is just the backside illuminated sensor.
So in short, very good for fast-paced
sports.
Yeah.
Sports, wildlife photography.
For
Because
sure.
I see it has like an electronic shutter speeds of up to 1/64,000 seconds.
Damn.
That is really fast. So if you're shooting by the the price on this is crazy.
Yeah, but these are now big boys.
Yeah, it also shoots 6K RAW up to 60 frames per second.
Oh, wow.
No cropping.
Damn.
So that is a bad boy, man.
What can you not shoot on that thing?
Nothing really.
Yeah.
Maybe Phil.
Your limit is just the price.
Hey, the limit. Hey, that price is crazy. That's an equivalent of almost 710,000 Kenyan shillings.
Though I'd also say if you are going for such a thing, then maybe you already know the level at which you're playing. You're not going to shoot
Definitely
cheap
Not gonna shoot
gigs with that.
weddings for 50,000 shillings. I don't, you know what I mean?
I was trying to find a judicious way of saying.
Yeah, just be honest. Come on, man. I'm not shooting a wedding for 50,000 shillings.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense.
It would make economical sense to take you 20 weddings to break even.
Probably 100.
And they have to come. Like I'm saying, if you're with those weddings that you have weddings every weekend. This weekend I'm shooting a wedding, and I don't spend anything on that 50K. Just ferry me into the wedding. I do my work. You feed me, ship me back home. Yeah, I edit. I don't pay nobody to edit. I don't do shit. So it's
Yeah. We can
These
see.
things are crazy.
Maybe that's why you go for the cheaper Nikon Z9.
You
which
know,
also I still wouldn't.
yeah, you know, like a lot of people have, you know, I don't know if it's biased because I've not really used Nikons, but I feel like they are more for photos.
Yeah.
I've never come across a guy who does videos on Nikons. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't
can't
think I have
comment
either.
because
think
I
I've
really
also
don't
never
know
come
why.
across one. However, I think that, you know, Nikon bought
Red.
Red.
Yes.
Ay.
And now you have to remember also, now Nikon has NRAW for video.
What does that do?
No, it's just like
Oh, like
Magic Raw,
Ah,
mirrorless
okay.
RAW. So it also has its own RAW called NRAW.
NRAW.
It is a compressed RAW. Yeah. So I think
Is it like Apple ProRes?
yeah, it's their old RAW. It captures everything. Yeah. So you find that they are trying to enter the market of videography. But personally, I've never seen someone buying Nikon to do videos. Yes, I only see them doing
Wildlife photography.
wildlife and photography. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that does it for that. Now we'll move on to our next contender.
Our
around
next
the
big
same
boy.
price range.
The Fujifilm GFX 100 R2. Man, that's a long name.
It's a mouthful.
It's a mouthful, man. Eesh. These people are doing the most.
Yeah.
And Fujifilm are not so common in our Kenyan market. But goes without saying, no, it doesn't go without saying because a lot of people don't know about it. So it goes with saying and with seeing what they've done,
Yeah.
that their color science is
Amazing.
amazing. Amazing to say the least. Yeah. And if I had a few extra coins or a lot of extra coins, I'd go for that baby just to randomly go and do street photography. It's a beast.
It's very common in Europe.
Very common in Europe.
Very common in
Definitely.
Europe.
Why do you think that's the case?
I don't know, maybe because it's made in. I think
It's made in Japan. Too.
Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's very common. In fact, anyone you meet will be having a Fuji.
But I think it's because you know how. Have you ever seen like the way streets in Europe are so clean and organized and like say you go to Barcelona, if you don't have not really, you can make do with whatever you have, but a Fujifilm will do you justice, a Leica will do you justice, a Hasselblad will do you justice. For this, you'll just with the right settings, just point and shoot, and you have a good image.
Do you think it could also be because such a camera for this, if you're going for such a camera, you're a very niche kind of photographer. So for you to spend that amount, you must really know what you're looking for. And you'll be as keen enough to know that maybe if it's the color science I'm going for, then maybe Fujifilm will get me what I'm looking for. So in a developed market like maybe Europe, you get more photographers who've already cut out their path and said, I'm only going to do street photography. And what's good in that, Nini?
And portraits.
Is Fujifilm. But in Kenya, you want to shoot weddings, you want to shoot wildlife, you want to shoot ads.
And your clientele likes a certain a certain look.
Yeah.
Probably.
So
like
look.
yeah, because the way Fujifilm, just from the name of the film,
Yeah.
they kind of their image processing kind of gives you like a film look. So for people have different preferences.
Yeah.
And one will be like, mbona unatupiga picha mzee?
Yeah.
Inakaa kitambo. So definitely those are some of the things you have to look at in this market.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tastes vary, and the majority of your clientele wouldn't really subscribe to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think the fact that it's 100 megapixel. So basically, when I use my S1, I shoot raw. It gives me around 40 to 60 megapixel of data.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine now, and this is 24 megapixel. Now imagine you have 102 megapixel
Wow.
and you are shooting raw. You know,
You
it
have
will take
a
you a
lot.
very huge processing power to process, or rather to edit
Yeah.
whatever you want to edit in raw. Yeah. Because basically the computer that we have at the Kwashime studio, one of them is 128 GB. Yeah, and when I edit like 50 videos, 50 photos, and they're in tabs in Photoshop, you find that it eats all the 300 and 28 GB of RAM.
Damn.
Now imagine you have a 100 megapixel camera and you want to process all those images that you have shot in a wedding. It wouldn't make sense.
It wouldn't.
It wouldn't
It
make
make
sense.
sense, yeah. I think even the JPEG would be a very big file.
Would be heavy.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So that means even, again, the kind of clientele you have would have to maybe understand or even know what they are looking for.
You'd probably
To
just
hire.
shoot images to sell.
Yeah.
Shoot 5 amazing photos and sell each at $1,000.
Yeah. You have to make that money back.
And it's crazy. It's crazy how everything has its plus side, and then there's something has to give. You either spend big bucks on this and get what you want,
Yeah.
or you go for the cheap versions and get something that's gonna serve you at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how would you say it compares to, say, a Hasselblad, for example?
I wouldn't even compare because that's two worlds apart.
Yeah.
A Hasselblad, the little knowledge I have on Hasselblads is that those things are beasts. And I'll have to do a lot of research, but just know it's a beast. They're beasts. And you can see that that is why a lot of brands are leaning towards Hasselblad. You see the way iPhone uses like Sony cameras. A lot of phones, the OnePluses that are coming out right now, are partnering with Hasselblad for their cameras, and they're very amazing cameras. The image quality is amazing. Even the new what's it called? The Mavic 4 Pro that we're going to talk about later also uses a Hasselblad.
Do you think they get the actual Hasselblad color science, or it's just a marketing strategy?
I think they do. It's only that now, image processing and everything else, now it's up to you. We're going to give you the camera, we're going to maybe give you the program that works best with our lenses and everything. But it's up to you to figure out the processing. You want to do an X processor like Fuji, that's up to you. You might outsource or get it from them. But I think it's all in, depends on the parent manufacturer.
Yeah. Otherwise, there wouldn't be like differentiation of products.
The brand. And Hasselblad makes sure they are. See, like the way you'd be using an iPhone, you just say, oh, camera, iPhone ni kali. Why don't they release a camera and you don't know it's Sony who's doing all the work? Hasselblad they always put tags. This is your phone, but on this camera we'll have it Hasselblad, so that people know.
Yeah. Wow, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And also Hasselblad was used to shoot the Earth.
From the moon.
Yeah, from the moon.
If we actually went to the moon.
but it's actually it actually makes sense, because I was watching this one video of somebody who owns a Hasselblad, and he shot an image from quite a distance. Like he shot a part of some mountainscape. And the zoom on this was amazing, because I think he was using a prime lens, but when he went into the image and he zoomed like times 1,000 or something,
Yeah.
and the image he got still was so amazing that you'd think it's been shot from a distance that's not so far. So I don't know how they achieved that.
Yeah, it's something we'd have to check.
And we have to check that and check our next videos for that, because we're gonna come back with viable information for this one.
Yeah. And before we go to the next one, what Odongo does? What's the difference between a medium format sensor versus your regular, maybe full frame?
Basically, there are different kind of sensors.
Yeah.
Rather, they have different kind of sensor formats. So there is 1 inch. I think most cameras, or rather most phones, are now getting into 1 inch
Yeah.
sensor. Yeah, there is crop sensor. There is full frame, and then there is medium format, and then there is large format. I think Asubad uses large format. Yeah, and I don't know if you know the movie called Sinners.
Yeah, Sinners.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sinners was shot in, I think, 2 different kinds of formats. So I think there was one of 35, Super 35, I think there were 3, medium format and large format. Yeah, and those are being aired on different cinemas. Because not all cinemas have that kind of technology to run large format. Yeah. So they derive it from film. Yeah, because even in film there is also that 1 inch Super 35 full frame. In fact, full frame, we have those ones that we used long time ago. I don't know whether you know that those film.
Oh yeah.
The Pro Photo. I might note that.
Those ones that we used to put at the back of the camera.
The big round ones that you.
Yeah, the big round ones that you used to buy, and then you put it on the back of the camera and you shoot. Yeah, those are now full frame. Yeah, those are full frame. So another difference between these full frames is the depth of field. Yeah, this one has a much better, full frame has a much better depth of field as compared to a PSC. Yes, and I would also assume that medium format has a much better depth of field as compared to full frame. Yes. So it's just the sensor sizes, basically. Yeah.
So maybe if I were to go on a tangent kidogo and say, in a world where people right now, like short form content is the thing, people are even moving from YouTube to just focus on Instagram Reels
and TikTok.
Would you say we are going to see a surge in more people buying, say, full frame cameras, or just so that you can get or that has nothing to do with?
Basically, it has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
But full frame captures more light than a PSC. Those are also other things that you really need to take note.
Yeah.
So, in case you are doing, you're working with low light, then you need full frame and above. Yeah, but if light is sufficient, then you just need crop sensor. Yeah, there is also micro four thirds sensor. There are people who just work with micro four thirds sensor. Yes, and you'll find that the rolling shutter in crop sensor of S52X is lower as compared to when you use the full frame of the same camera. Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
I think when it comes to formats, it's a topic on its own.
It's a
Yeah.
There's a lot of things to talk about. Yeah.
That's definitely coming in the next video, so stay tuned.
Nikon is usually known for ninis mostly, photos. But you see the way they're doing groundbreaking ninis moves.
Yeah.
8K 60 frames per second.
Hey, that's
Raw
crazy.
video. That is crazy, man.
That's crazy.
Because now, when you have this camera, this Nikon camera, you have to upgrade everything around you. Your editing setup, your storage. You have to like find 1 TB SD cards.
Yes.
Man, that's crazy.
But do you really need to shoot 8K RAW? If most of the
You need to.
devices still the highest one is 4K for TV.
I know.
No,
Well,
you need to,
Or
because.
just for future proofing.
but what future? Do you think?
But I think you know when you have this thing, bro, you have 8K. It's like Dave Frank is a V8 guy, and he was so mad, and they were like, why do this?
They're
the
killing the
E63,
V8.
why do they have V6? Yeah, and there's V8. Something. Now imagine that feeling. You have 8K, but you're still shooting at 4K.
But see, the
But
problem
even
is,
us, we rarely shoot at 6K. We only
Yeah.
shoot at 4K.
mm,
In fact, we have
because it comes with so many
we have
costs.
5K
Mm,
and 7 or 5 point something Ks,
mm,
and then we have now the 6K.
yeah.
But rarely do we shoot on,
Mm-hmm.
because we are limited by storage. We are limited. I think basically it's just storage.
Storage.
It's our limitation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I remember that time. There's a time we were on the field with Frank,
Mm.
and we had set the camera, the S52X, to shoot at 6K.
Mm.
And I don't know how that happened, but we hadn't realized. Then 20 minutes later, the 256 GB card says card full. And by 20 minutes later, I don't mean 20 minutes of continuous recording. 20 minutes after recording short videos, because it was a music video, so you've recorded maybe a performance for 3 minutes. Then you see card full, you wonder, what? How is 256 GB full? And you start wondering, hey, my card is corrupted. Then you go and find, oh, you are shooting at 6K
Yeah.
at 60 FPS. It's crazy, man.
And then again, it all boils down to the client.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah,
think
yeah.
a typical Kenyan client would tell the difference between
They
something
wouldn't.
shot on 6K and 4K? Or rather, would they pay
Yeah.
for the hassle you have to go through editing a 6K footage,
Storing it.
storing the 6K footage, sharing it with them post-production?
I think if you have a client that's gonna, if you upsell yourself using that, oh, you know, you do 6K, blah, 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 and they're like, oh, 6K. Why? Because people know, like, there's varying image qualities, but they don't really know
Yeah.
what a lot of people don't really know what the difference is between
Yeah.
4K, 6K, 1080.
And they're going to consume it on phones, which most are just 1080.
1080, yeah.
And even the ones that are 4K. This phone is 4K, and it's all. I always have it at 1080 because battery, it consumes the battery too. So
Even YouTube itself still doesn't, cannot allow you uploading 6K video.
yeah,
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's,
it will downgrade it to 4K.
yeah. So I think the 8K 60p of the Nikon Z8. Let's just say these cameras at this segment or this class are for very specific people or very niche
Or like
projects.
you said, future proofing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but doesn't that work against them? Like, here, if I buy this Z8, I'm not gonna buy another camera from you guys for 10 years.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I guess that's why it's expensive. So
Because-
you make one kill and eat it over a longer
long
period of
period of
time,
time.
rather than sell multiple cheap devices or rather affordable devices frequently. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So basically, some of the key features of the Nikon Z8. Remember, we were comparing the Z9, that's its bigger bro, with the Canon,
The R1.
the R1. Yeah, so this is basically a toned down version of that, offering you a 45 megapixel stacked sensor. We've talked about the 8K 60p raw video, and we were just being shocked at how you have the dual CFX card slots. That just tells you how much, or rather, the speeds, write-out speeds,
Yeah,
that you'd need. And you also get an extra SD card slot. Yeah. And of course, fast autofocus, and so many other things. Yeah.
Which are, this whole period I've been thinking, man, when will it end? Like, when does this craziness stop? Where, you know, everybody is coming up with, it's a mad. Is this? Can we call this a rat race? Is this really a rat race? But and you have to catch up as a creator.
You have to.
You have to catch up.
But I think we also win if you have such variety.
I saw there's this meme that somebody, it's not really a meme, but it's actually the truth, said, I don't make films to make money. I make money to make films.
That's an interesting perspective.
If you look at it, the amount of money we've spent on whatever we have here today. Tungenunua shamba man. Tujenge maplot.
Someone wouldn't understand. Damn. Someone would just look at you and be like,
And it gets crazier because now you're thinking of what? The S1 Mark II. You buy that, you have to accessorize for this.
You have to.
In 3 years, you want to buy something else, accessorize for it.
We were talking about more storage the other day.
Yes.
Now
Storage.
you have this recording.
Storage is good.
I don't know.
It's crazy. Are we doing 6K right now?
We're doing 4K.
Oh, we are doing 6K.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But I'm starting to understand why people buy these things. Because now, for example, you have, say, S52X, and then you see the S1 Mark II. And
S1
like,
Mark II, yeah.
Yeah, I need that.
I need that. You need to use it. It becomes an addiction of sorts. Because I remember the other time we were having a discussion with Odongo. And that's just after we'd acquired the ESRP. And some few months later, I think, there was, it was one of the Sony cameras that came out, or it had not come out, but it was like a really close rival. Better specs for less money, or around the same price. And I was telling Odongo, at this point, I don't want to buy anything that's lower than. If I have to buy a camera right now, I'm just gonna go for the FX6. I want to be the one with the baddest at this point. Yeah. I want to be able to shoot the baddest content. I don't want to look at my content, because if you've noticed, the 4K on RP and the 4K on the S52X, big difference. Yeah, because of all the additions, the bit rate, all that, what do we call it? The open gate shooting. All those things factor in, and you see it, and because you can see the difference in this 4K and this other 4K, it gets into you, and it gets into your mind, and you now want the best.
Yeah. Now I can imagine whoever bought the FX3 in the last, say, 2 months, and then you hear rumors that the Mark II is coming out, and it has all the things you've always wanted.
You know those. And in fact, currently, now, the price of FX3 has really dropped.
Yeah.
Yes.
You've lost almost 100K if you bought it in the last 2-3 months.
How much do you think the FX3 Mark II is gonna be priced at?
It's gonna be pricey. I think it will be pricey.
It better be pricey, because then at least you'll have some consolation and be like, I will still not have been able to buy it. But imagine it comes in and it's only a couple of.
Oh, that would really suck for you. Say it's like 600K.
Yeah.
And you bought the FX3 for maybe
50.
450.
You're like,
That's
crazy.
For the added benefits.
I think someone like antivirus, because I shared with them the video that I shared with you guys. And he never commented.
You can't comment because you're like, for an extra, say, 100K or so, you could. That's assuming the coming one is, say, within a small price range.
But
you're gonna suffer.
It should be. It should. But again, if you look at it this way, the S7, not the S7, the A1 costs around 700 to 800,000
Yeah.
Kenyan shillings. It could cost more than the FX6.
Yeah, do you think they're gonna have that? An Nini that's slightly below it in class, being more expensive than the...
But again, you see, the A1 is a hybrid camera
Yeah.
for starters. These ones are cinema line. So
yeah.
this pain might just have to hit anyone who's bought an FX3.
Yeah.
Because there's no way it's going to be more expensive than the FX6.
It
And if you look
can't.
at it that way, it's going to cost at least around 500,000 Kenyan shillings. That's, say, $4,500. And man,
Unless there's
it
tariffs.
Sucks. It sucks right now.
Yeah, tariffs might kick it up. But anyway, that's something we are waiting to see.
Yeah, but yeah, you could buy it from China now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just this other side.
Yeah.
So away from the cameras on land now, go to drones. Something big, man, something amazing. The Mavic 4 Pro.
Yes.
Yeah,
Tell us about it.
I can't even talk about it. We have to all talk about it to give it the respect it deserves. This thing has a main camera that's 100 megapixels, but it's on a Micro Four Thirds Hasselblad CMOS sensor. It does video 6K up to does video 6K at 60 frames per second, but HDR. It shoots still images, 100 megapixels resolution. Shoots f2.0 to f11. That's the aperture. Yeah, those are some of the what do we call it? Notable features on this Mavic 4 Pro. While that might not look like something big, but for drones,
On a drone, that's serious power.
that is amazing. That is so amazing.
Yeah. And how about that articulating camera?
Dongo, can you talk about that? The camera that does, because I'm not gonna use the right English to describe it. So
I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
But we're gonna show that video here, like the way it does.
How the camera rotates. Yes. And one thing with the you don't talk about this advanced tracking. It's super. The tracking can capture a flock of birds, and each individual bird is tracked.
It's tracked.
So you can only if you want to select a bird, then you just select the one that
You want.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so amazing.
So amazing.
That's crazy.
I saw them try that on a car though, but it was still so amazing.
Yeah.
So it was a couple of cars on a highway, and I think it was on autopilot, and this guy just taps on the car he wants,
And
tracks
it's
it. Framing is amazing. So
Add on to the Hasselblad color science.
yeah, the
And it's
Hasselblad
amazing.
color science. Obstacle sensing is amazing. Goes at up to 90 kilometers per hour. So
Yeah. I think we need to get into Forex.
and its flight time is up to 51 minutes under ideal conditions.
Wow.
That is a big jump.
Crazy.
Big jump from 30 to 51.
What can you not shoot
An
in
extra
that thing?
20 minutes. So if you have two batteries, you're shooting a whole event without having to think about, because
Of just pure drone shots.
yeah,
Crazy.
51 minutes of drone footage is
That's a lot.
That's
That's
a
even
lot.
better on what I get on this camera.
That's a lot.
Shooting, say, 6K.
yeah. It also comes with a controller, the DJI RC Pro 2, which has a 7-inch display, 200 nit brightness, rotatable screen. And one thing is, I think you can set it to a mode where when you rotate that screen from vertical to horizontal,
Yeah.
it adapts to,
Yeah.
especially
But
in-
articulating it also rotates.
yeah.
Ah.
So in this age of
Technology.
social media, technology, you just rotate it, and you have your you don't have to tell people tilt your screen to.
Which no one ever tilts
Yeah,
the
nobody
screen,
ever
by
does
the
that.
way.
You just
Just
You're
swipe
like,
to the next video. So unfortunate. Yeah. I can see there's 10-bit D-Log.
Yeah.
it does that. Oh, wow. But now talking about drones, why it's so expensive to get drones in this country, and this thing that it currently retails at 450K. So
Getting it fast.
imagine the hassle.
Getting it through customs
Having,
is a problem.
Yeah, need to have that license as
The
well.
license.
That goes for around 100,000 Kenyan shillings.
Hey.
You need to pay for bringing in a drone, 3,000 bob.
Ish.
And that is why drone guys, you don't even negotiate with drone guys if
You
you don't have a
shouldn't.
drone.
You shouldn't.
One
They
of my
should just
buddies
quote
was
their
like,
price.
if my drone goes out of Nairobi, 15,000 shillings per day, yes.
Yeah, it had better, because who's going to pay for those bills?
Yeah, man, it's and the risk as well.
Yeah.
Because these things are delicate, and sometimes they go cuckoo and
It reminds
reminds
me of an incident we had recently.
a drone went cuckoo.
Yeah. Oh, that
Who was the pilot?
not me. But I may have contributed to it.
Don't go, are you the pilot? But this guy has bad luck with drones.
I think I'll just get mine. Yeah, it's just that we now have a drone.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, but that's if we win, if you get into forex, man, you go for this, because
Yeah.
this thing is a beast.
Yeah, drones. Yes. So it's competitors, of course. There's the DJI 3. I think that's the previous generation, no?
Yeah, I think it's the DJI Mavic 4.
Yeah.
This is the Mavic 4 Pro. Yeah. So
Okay.
and on some news on this says the Mavic Pro is coming to Canada and Mexico, but not the USA for now. They are
Tariffs.
skipping the USA. Could this be because of the tariffs?
Yeah, definitely.
I think the US is hurting more than anyone with this tariff they're imposing.
They brought it on themselves.
Because, man, how can you sanction China?
Yeah.
These guys have the manufacturing power. They can do all these things.
Yeah.
360-degree rotating gimbal for footage. Crazy.
Drones are quite expensive,
Yeah.
and that's no secret. Getting it, a lot of red tape, especially here in Kenya.
It's quite a hassle.
It is a hassle. So maybe something that most people have seen opt for that gives you somewhat a creative drone-like image would be the Insta360.
Yeah.
Yeah, the latest one being the X4.
Yeah. Actually, if you get creative with it, you can have drone-like footage on that.
Yeah.
Especially if you're doing events like weddings, small things where you don't have to record landscapes and
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite nice. One thing I saw that I really like about it is, you remember with the X3, you had this problem where once you break that glass on basically the lens cap, if I were to call it that, that's it for you. You either have to replace it, which you have to have a specialist do it, and it's really expensive and stressful. Now with the X4, it comes with replaceable glass.
Or they
Yeah, so you can
pack it
literally
for you
just twist it
already.
out, replace it with a new one. So basically that helps you. You won't be as careful and nervous while using it as you are with the other
you'll
one.
be able to be adventurous with your
Yes, yeah.
because they are action cameras. I think.
Anyway, yeah. So That's a really good addition. I think they've also increased the resolution a bit. Yeah. While not increasing the price in an obscene way. I think in Kenya right now you can get them for like 70 or 60K, thereabouts.
That's really, I think that's a step in the right direction.
It is. It is. And slowly by slowly, things like GoPro are quickly losing in the market. Yeah. It's really suffered by there in the past.
GoPros,
with all the
by the way,
issues.
it's been long since I had anyone talk about GoPros.
Yeah, those things crash like crazy. I think there's something wrong with that.
Really?
Yeah.
They're still products of DJI, right?
I am not
Or they are
sure. Are they?
multiple? I really don't know.
You know, DJI has their own, the action. In fact, most people who bought GoPros in the past are now buying the DJI action series of like action cameras. Yeah. So I met a guy in Race Wars who was using the Action 5, which has really good features. I think it records 4K up to 120. The battery life is quite good. He could get up to 3-4 hours. Yeah. And then, of course, it has stable software as compared to the GoPro, which most people have complained to really hang or sometimes just crash and you can't bring it back. And it's also cheaper, way cheaper.
That is.
The Action 5.
Oh, yeah. Wow, that's a plus to the pockets.
Yeah.
Plus to your pockets from the Osmo Pocket.
So are you getting that or the Pocket? The Osmo Pocket?
I've used the Osmo Pocket, the Osmo Pocket 3. I used it kidogo last week. And I don't know why, but it just didn't appeal to me at all.
Is it the ergonomics?
Nah, I was just like, why not I can use my phone.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I could use my phone. So I don't really see, maybe for somebody who has a use case for it, it would make sense. But personally, I don't really need it. And it doesn't really, because I'm always looking for, okay, what can it do? It's okay, you fit something small, or fit this quality into something small, and it doesn't really make a huge difference to me.
Yeah, I think the target audience would mostly be vloggers or people doing reels and shorts, because it's quite, it's stabilized as compared to say the GoPro, the phone, or which Insta360. Of course, those have digital stabilization, but you can say this one with the actual,
or the gimbal on it,
makes it a bit better in terms of stabilization. And then the fact that you can easily flip
can flip it.
Yeah, these videos like the ones that you used to record. This guy who went downhill fast. Caliph Cairo.
Caliph. Oh, yeah.
I think for such kind of content, it would be a really nice buy. I think even Tabotails guys use it. Even Alcantara to some degree.
Yeah, it's nice for, because you can even do, you see, there's this mount for gripping, for like mounting it on a car that it has been released, and it's specifically for this DJI Osmo Pocket. If you're gonna do rolling shots,
actually
really
that's
nice.
a good addition, because I wanted to say my biggest problem with it was that all its benefits, like that handle and everything, is its downside, because mounting it on things would be difficult. Because you see, a GoPro, I can just say I can have the adventure or whatever, maybe strap it to my chest or to a helmet. Yeah. But now imagine having a whole pocket on your helmet and everything. But now that you say there are ways to mount it, I think then it's a good...
Yeah, there are mounts that are specifically for it. And I think DJI did a really good job on, like, if you want to do rolling shots on this, it does so well.
Yeah.
The stabilization is amazing. Yeah.
Only issue is the price.
Definitely.
I think it's above 100K.
Definitely above 100K.
Yeah. Higher than everything else we've mentioned on that list.
So it's just the limitation might be the price, but
Yeah.
you know, if you've got the money, why not?
Yeah.
Buy them more.
Yeah, that probably takes us to the last segment, which is just use your phone.
Just
to
use
record.
your phone.
Yeah.
And actually, right now it's been just use your phone. Actually, if you can afford an S25, Samsung have done the thing, man.
I know.
They have done the bad boy thing. What do you think? Have you tried it out?
I've not. And in case you're wondering what we are talking about, this is the introduction of the log shooting in the S25 Ultra. This is something that Samsung has not had before. And Apple fanboys used to say, we can record Apple ProRes.
Yeah. And now there's log on Samsung, and is there any other phone with log?
I don't think so.
I don't think there's another.
The Sony phone, the Xperia Mark 5, or what is the name of that phone? Does it record log? I'm not sure.
I don't think it does. I don't think.
iPhone records.
No, other than iPhone, we are just wondering which other phone brand today records log.
I only know of Samsung S25 Ultra.
Yeah. And I think for me, that addition is quite good because I've noticed something when you record or take pictures on Samsung. There's some, I don't want to call it, or rather, I think it's some sort of processing where if I look at the subject and then look at the picture that I've taken, there's some slight difference. Maybe it's a bit enhanced. Maybe there's something going on with the color that's not what I wanted. Like I can clearly see it's not what's there, or rather what I'm seeing in real life.
Yeah, in fact, they say that if you take a picture, it is not real.
It is not.
Yes.
It is not.
Yeah,
The
it's
picture
not.
you take is not real.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not because there's this experiment they did where somebody took a photo of their bulb, and you'd see the way it was on there's a mode they had, that moon mode. I don't know, was it moon?
Yeah, in the even S20, it started with the S21 Ultra, where you can zoom all the way to the moon and see details.
So this guy took a photo of his bulb, and it kind of looked like the moon when he was like, So I think the technology on the phone assumed this was the moon, and it replaced the actual bulb with the moon.
Oh no!
So when you expand on your photo and like, the moon. I can see very clear details from the moon.
Almost
like,
seeing
man,
that flag by Neil
I was
Armstrong.
like, I didn't even shoot the moon. This is my bulb. How did it turn into the moon? So
so that's quite unfortunate. And it's the main reason why, especially video people, were preferring the iPhone over Samsung.
Definitely. I'm a Samsung. I've been a Samsung user for the longest time. But when it comes to that, we'd prefer Apple.
Yeah.
So
would this tip you towards the Samsung, or rather make you remain in the Samsung?
Definitely, I'm so biased when it comes to Samsung.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically you'll be able to shoot log and color it the way you want.
The way you want.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
That is a
Quite
very
a
big deal.
Yeah. 2025 is clearly shaping up to be a revolutionary year in the world of cameras. Now, we've seen flagship monsters to pocket powerhouses. And whether you're shooting weddings, wildlife, or wide-angle wonders from a drone, there's never been a better time to create. So follow us for more gear talk, industry insights, pro tips, and so much more. And definitely we are looking forward to checking out those rumored devices. And let us know what you think about this. So like, comment, share, and
Tell a friend to tell a friend.
This is
Alright.
Squatchness.
Squatchness. See you next time.
Uh-huh.
On the next episode, we'll have exciting, amazing content, guys.
Yeah.
Bye.